4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 96th episode of Sonic Talk. We are here. We are tired. It's been an exhausting week for some of us. Um, so, well, all ready to go. With me tonight is this. I am Jason Berry. Sorry, the host of this week, of this month. With me tonight is GX Ekin. Say hi, GX.
Hey, GX, aka Chris, aka the Spin Dash. I'm here. I too am tired.
And also with me tonight is Knuckles87. Say hi, Alex.
Hello. I moved multiple couches today.
Oh, no wonder you're tired. Oh my God. There's nothing worse. Did you have to do any of them upstairs in any way?
Thankfully, no. Just like up a sidewalk ramp, just up a sidewalk ramp into a pool patio, and then I had to carry it through a sliding glass door.
Okay, we're going to start off as always with what we've been playing. Alex, I'm going to let you go first. So I've heard you've been playing a remaster of a classic Nintendo game.
While we do that, Jason, I'm gonna make a suggestion that you leave the call and rejoin it, because you're really
Thank
breaking up.
goodness! I was afraid that was
I
me.
am?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
I was gonna say something the moment
Okay,
you were done with your presentation.
Let me bring it up and then I'll rejoin. Hold on.
And while you do that, Knuckles, tell me about some remasters.
All right. So, well, technically it's one remaster. Yeah, like one of the games I've been playing lately is Metroid Prime Remaster, which I have been a big Metroid Prime fan for a relatively long time. Like, it's one of those rare games where I got it because I heard good things about it, and because I like Halo. It looks kind of Halo-y, even though I knew it was going to be like more puzzle solving oriented. But like I could not get into it for years until like a year before Metroid Prime 3 was going to come out, and then finally the game clicked for me. And ever since then, like Metroid Prime has just been a top tier exploration game for me. Like it is always an experience to go through this game, like because even the old GameCube original, like really impressive graphics for its day, really superb atmosphere, and like what the feeling it really nails is the ability to like feel like an explorer exploring like a hostile, mysterious alien planet, which is an experience that so few games really managed to nail in this way. Usually they're very action oriented, like Halo, or maybe they're like horror oriented, like Dead Space or Returnal. But like with Metroid Prime, you're always in the visor unless you're in a morph ball, and you're always just like experiencing the environment. And Metroid Prime Remastered, like the moment that got announced, the moment I saw the price, I knew I was going to get it, which is something I've not been able to say about Nintendo ports and remasters for the most part these days. Like, it was the perfect price, and everything that was great about the original game in terms of its visual presentation is just turned up to 11. Like, the visuals here are just so gorgeous, and it really makes the environments come alive in a way that you remember the old Metroid Prime, but not in the way it actually was.
So here's the thing.
Yeah?
In a lot of ways, it still is the old Metroid Prime. Apparently it is running on the same exact engine as the GameCube version. It's just that they've really sort of updated a lot of the assets in it.
Like, the original Metroid Prime, so far as I'm concerned, has aged extremely well. Even these days, there aren't really a whole lot of games that manage to do what it does as well as it does. And so having that kind of game, but with modern HD visuals, is just a treat. And I did have to take a break from it, but because like I'm kind of distracted by games on my Steam Deck right now. But like it is one of those rare Switch games I really do just love playing on the television. And
now,
yeah.
how have you set up your controls for this one?
All right, so for the controls, for a while, I was just like using the dual stick, but with the lock-on mechanic. Because like the old tank controls admittedly haven't aged well, and unfortunately the Wii controls have not translated all that well because the turning sensitivity is just not there. Like it's just not nearly as precise as it was on the Wii, and I get that that's because the Wii has the IR sensor and the Switch doesn't. But like there are other games out there that have managed to do the pointer better than this, and so I'm hoping they'll fix that in a patch. But what I was able to do after I watched a YouTube video on like Metroid Prime control methods is that I have it on the dual stick setting, but I have the gyro turned on so that I use so that I can like Splatoon the game where I use the second stick for big turns and everything, but then I use the gyro for to adjust the aiming. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is a really cool setup. It's still not as good as it is on the Wii, in my opinion. I think the Wii is probably like always going to be the best way to play these games in terms of control until Nintendo manages to like, I don't know, maybe put an IR sensor on the Switch 2 Joy-Con. That would be nice. But
whenever this got announced, like one of the first searches that I went for was like, okay, tell me about Dolphin VR.
But this is like just the definitive way to play this game now, which is really nice to say. I am so like, and the price is so good on this, $40. Nintendo's pricing is just so weird these days because like they're charging $70 for a Breath of the Wild sequel. They're charging like $60 for Skyward Sword,
which is just up-res. It's just up-res. They went through a lot.
Glorified
They completely changed the assets for this and completely updated the art. So this is a total remaster.
Okay, if we're being realistic here, there is an element of this remaster. People love it, yes, but it's not going to sell as well as a Zelda remaster. It just isn't because.
True, but I'm just saying the Zelda isn't really a remaster; that it is more of an up-res, HD version.
Like one thing I am indeed coming to understand is that Nintendo does not price things based off of like how much effort they put into a thing, how much money they spend.
They price it by demand.
It's just like how big is the IP, and they know that they can just charge top dollar for Zelda now. Like Breath of the Wild turned Zelda into one of their biggest IPs.
Also, Metroid is not the top brand in Japan as it is here in the US.
No.
Yeah.
No, I remember. I remember for people who follow Japanese social media. I guess Japanese social media poking fun at at us in the West when people were freaking out about Federation forces.
I'm kind of hoping that that I don't know, like for the future of these Metroid Prime stuff, I would be totally okay with just regular HD remasters of the next two games, but. Like, if they do put this amount of effort into like bringing the other games over, it's going to be very hard for me to say no to that.
They're poking fun of us for being outraged at Federation Force, so we deserve to be poked fun up.
Like this is something I probably would have spent $60 on.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas with Skyward Sword, I guess ignored it.
People on eBay are spending upwards of $100 for a physical copy, which they're bound to make more of.
I haven't gotten it yet myself. I would tell you if it was the full trilogy, then I absolutely would have it by now. And regardless of if it's 60 or 70 or whatever, it's knowing that like just the one's out, and also, you know, not wanting to pay $40. That's kind of stopped me right now.
In any case, so on my other favorite portable console, the Steam Deck, I got Sonic Frontiers on sale. Sega had a massive sale earlier this month for all their Sonic games.
Yeah, they did.
On Steam, and apparently, like, there's like this thing where like Steam affiliates where like will like undercut Steam even further.
Oh yeah.
And so whereas Steam was selling Sonic Frontiers for I think $42, I was able to get it for $37 off a Newegg.
Yeah, well, there's that, and then there's just general key sites.
Game billets.
Yeah, there's general key sites. If you follow Wario64 on Twitter, he'll typically report on, I guess, what would be considered some of the more reputable ones. I think I got the Judgment double pack plus DLC for like under $80 through a key site.
So yeah, I've been playing through Sonic Frontiers again. I am still having fun, of course, but I will say I did have some issues getting it running. It seems like the game just runs really badly when you first start out, but then it seems to like sort things out, and then I have not had any issues since the opening like 20 minutes of the game.
So,
and I've been able to keep it at decent settings.
So I don't know if this is it in particular, but I have heard reports that people who have been getting Like a Dragon Ishin on Steam have kind of been dealing with a lot of shader compilation stutter. And as we kind of know, Sega has sort of like prioritized having PC ports, but they haven't really prioritized optimizing PC ports or providing all the settings that you'd expect from modern PC ports.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the issues that you're speaking of are related to that.
I would not be surprised if it's like just optimization issues. I guess no, I got this specifically for the mods. Like, and eventually I'm going to start going through the mods, because I haven't had time lately. But the Sonic Frontiers mod scene has been surprisingly active. Despite the fact that it like has Denuvo DRM protection.
Oh, Denuvo has never stopped people from making mods for these games. Like all the Sonic games have Denuvo, and there's just mods all over the place. It's just mostly anywhere where you could have asset replacement. Those don't seem to be impacted at all, and even then, some people are able to get through even some like script stuff as well.
And finally, and most recently, I have been playing Horizon Zero Dawn on my Steam Deck, and that game does run. I eventually figured out that I had to turn off VSync. Otherwise, eventually, like the game will just randomly slow to single frames in terms of frame rate until I restart. But turning off VSync seems to fix that. But like apparently, I can make the game run pretty good on normal settings if I just like limit my the video RAM to 10 to like if I limit the video RAM to 10 gigs or something, or 4 gigs, I forget. But I didn't want to go in there messing with all that and potentially like messing with the other games. And so, like, turned off VSync, it's running well, but my God, like, this game came out 2 weeks before Breath of the Wild, and I got it at the time, and I was playing it, I was having fun, and then, like, Switch was about to come out, I broke my ankle, and, like, I guess completely ditched Horizon Zero Dawn for Breath of the Wild, and like going back to this game now, 5 years later, I'm kind of seeing like it probably wasn't just. I'm kind of seeing why I ditched this game for Breath of the Wild. It wasn't just how accessible Breath of the Wild was for me. Breath of the Wild is just a significantly better open world game because this game has some really weird.
Unless there's some blatantly yellow lines atop the side of the mountain, then forget it. You can't climb.
But the Horizon Zero Dawn just to me has some baffling design decisions. Because this is a big open world game you're meant to explore, but exploring is exceedingly dangerous and just downright impossible sometimes because the world is full of these gigantic, overly aggressive enemies that will utterly annihilate you. So in Horizon Zero Dawn, you exist in a world that is full of post-apocalyptic world that's full of machines that are mimic animals. And one of the plot points of the game is that these machines are gradually becoming more dangerous and they're becoming corrupted. And there's all these political intrigue between the various human tribes that now occupy the world. And it sets us up as a game where you're gonna be running around and exploring and hunting, and playing in a fairly deliberate way, but in a way that lets you explore. But the moment you leave the opening area, essentially all of these animals are just become super aggressive, and they all just mob you. If you're trying to hunt one machine and a herd of machines, the moment you attack, every single machine in the vicinity will just be all over you. And that does have a certain amount of fun on its own, but it's just it feels like what?
Are you being stealthy enough in the game? Because
I know how to sneak, but the problem is I have to sneak whenever there are machines in the vicinity. Even when I have no interest in hunting them and I'm keeping my distance, they will still go after you if you're a little too loud, and that just makes exploring a massive pain. And because the enemies mob you whenever you attack one, stealth works up until the point where you attack one, and then they all know that you are there, and then you have to basically obliterate every single thing in the area to survive and collect their parts. Which
if you use a rock and bring them to you and do a quick one hit kill, it's usually quite enough not to attract them.
I don't think I can one hit kill the gigantic crocodiles and bulls yet.
Oh no, that's pretty far along. Yeah, I was saying more in the beginning hours of the game.
The beginning hours were the hours that set up I said, they set up this game where you can hunt these things like they're animals without. But my issue is the moment you leave the opening area, all that seems to just go out the window. It used to be earlier in the game, you attack one, and unless they're a specific type of machine, everything else runs. But that just stops happening the moment you leave the beginning area, and that just takes a lot of fun out of the game for me. Now, one thing I will say is that it's still a lot of fun. I'm still kind of navigating the game's mechanics. I'm realizing that I do need to upgrade certain weapons and stuff, and I'm exploring certain weapons and strategies, but ultimately it feels like it's just not going to be enough. And whenever I manage to kill a bunch of high-powered machines, it just feels like pure luck. Right before we recorded, I got into a situation where I've been trying to hunt a couple of the giant robot crocodiles, because like I need some of their parks to get a weapon, but I cannot do that without getting swarmed by everything else in the area. And so like what I ended up having to do was I one thing you can do in this game is that you can override a machine. You sneak up to it, you put your staff up to it, and then you like bring it over to your side. And then it will like fight the machines with you for a certain amount of time. And so like I do that, and like things go relatively well for a little while, and then like these two gigantic lizards just launch themselves out of the ground, and these things are the biggest pain in the ass, because as near as I can tell, no weapon I have is effective against them. But what I ended up doing in order to finally just kill everything in the area was I crossed the river. Apparently the gigantic tunnel drilling lizards cannot cross rivers, and I managed to turn a giant robot crab to my side, and essentially I just like it started shooting projectiles at the enemies across the river, and I started shooting my arrows, and we just knocked down their health until everything was dead. And like, but like it's just a really frustrating game at times. It's frustrating as an open world exploration game. It's frustrating as a hunting game. I'm hoping that there maybe like the enemies will become less aggressive through like some sort of story mechanic or something. But I don't know. Like, it's fun, but it's no Breath of the Wild, which I like. Clearly, when it comes to open world games, technology ain't everything anymore, because Breath of the Wild just has way better exploration mechanics, enemy fighting mechanics.
But Alex,
I could go on.
But Alex, how can the new game even run on Switch? It's going to run terribly, isn't it? That's how games work. Like, the Switch is now bad. It can't do anything.
Anyway, I'm hoping that they fix these issues in Horizon Zero West and made the robot animals act more like animals and less like enemy mobs. That's what I'm really hoping for.
Zero West has gone onto the PlayStation Plus, extra games list now.
Well, I got a Forbidden West on sale for PS4. So, and then I got the free PS5 upgrade. But just imagine just getting swarmed by like 3 giant crocodiles, 3 bus-sized crocodiles, two bus-sized lizards, and then 2 giant birds.
Please, Alex, please stop describing my kink online.
Like that's the kind of game this is. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been playing.
As far as Horizon Zero Dawn goes, so it's fine when I'm playing it portable. When I'm playing on the screen and like I try to upgrade it to a 900 or 1080 resolution and try to do the settings with there, it's really hard to get a good visual setting with it.
Steam Deck is not very good at up-resing things for TV yet.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, apparently it's even worse at it than the GPD Win 3 is.
Well, it's designed to run at 720p, and then it is designed for that.
GX has some very weird kinks, apparently. Mr. Speed is watching.
You probably didn't hear the joke I made then.
Okay, before I go, did you have any games you've been playing this month, GX?
This month has been me basically binging on Lego and then deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna kind of not spend a lot of money, which Nintendo made very hard, and Square Enix made very hard, because I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, but I really want the $100 version of Theatrhythm, like, and have all those songs.
I'm hearing good things about Octopath Traveler 2. Like, apparently that game is a significant improvement over the original.
That's good. There's I know some people who really, really like that game, and I know some people who absolutely despise some of the creative decisions it's made.
I skipped out on it when I heard that there wasn't much interplay between the different party members.
Anyhow, basically, there's games that I would like, and I'm on the verge of just breaking down and getting a bunch of the Nintendo vouchers from the voucher program and sort of dumping it into a bunch of stuff. Eventually, I probably will. Combined with, maybe some Costco discounts.
That is how I'm getting Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, yeah. You'd be honestly, you'd be crazy not to some extent, because it's gonna be like $20 savings.
Yep.
$20 difference in savings. My God. But I have mostly just been playing classic games. I've been starting I guess a marathon, and by marathon I guess like just slowly getting through the series of the Donkey Kong Country games, including the Game Boy ones. The Game Boy ones are not good. I don't recommend playing them. The first
Game Boy, the 8-bit ones, eh?
Yes, I don't know if is Game Boy 8-bit?
Yeah,
Game Boy is fully 8-bit. Yes.
Okay, I thought it was okay. Sure, but yeah, the
Game Boy Advance is 16-bit. Yeah,
right.
No, 32-bit. 32-bit.
Yeah, whatever. At any rate, like I've been going through that. I really enjoy the Donkey Kong Country series. It's whenever you go through from one to the other, it's really cool to see the evolution of going from the original Donkey Kong Country, which was a very straightforward platformer, to the second one, which has much more sprawling levels, much more intricate level design, and it feels like it's just better put together. It has a lot more interesting gimmicks to it, we'll say. Gimmicks or stage aspects or things that it just asks you to do. It tracks your collectibles in a more significant way and unlocks extra levels based on that. And it's fun. It's cool. I like them. I haven't made it to 3 yet because I'm still trapped on the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong Country 2, and I'm getting real tired of it, and I'd like to be done with it.
That game is hard.
It's hard. It's not even that it's like ridiculously hard. It just has the Game Boy issue of the screen is just not big enough for what it's trying to do. And it doesn't throw lives at you in the same way that the SNES one does. The SNES one, like, by the end of the game, I'll just stock up like 40 lives and I will be good for a while. This one, it's like, well, if I have 4 on hand, I'm lucky. And I'm gonna have to use save states, because if you get a game over, well, it's the last time that you saved at a save spot, which you have to pay for.
Yeah, so you have to pay for save spots. And on top of that, the lives are limited. And that's why I go back to that game, I want to play it, and then I just don't get anywhere. Now, this is on the SNES, to be fair. I probably wouldn't have this problem on the Switch.
I don't have that much of an issue on the SNES version of the game, but I don't know, I played it a lot. It was my primary rental game for whenever I did rent, because it was big enough that you could get more than a whole weekend out of it, and pray that no one deletes your save.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it. I've been doing a lot of file organization for other retro games, let's just say other retro games. I'm having to organize files. Interpret that in whichever way you would like to.
Ooh, organizing files.
Organizing a lot of files. Trying to make a non-merged set. Which has meaning to only people who understand what that does mean. So yeah, Jason.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. I have been playing a non-controversial EA game these past 2 weeks, and that's
Those exist?
Wild Hearts. You can play what's supposed to be a 10-hour trial on Game Pass because they mix in with EA Play. But in actuality, it gets to a certain stage where you get to a village where then it's like, okay, that's the end of our demo, even though it's been 2 hours for a 10-hour trial.
Now this is
So
like
you can either keep playing in the area or just where you belong. Yeah, this is a Monster Hunter like knockoff that's been published by EA. The developers there are Koei Tecmo and Omega Force, are Japanese developers, which you don't really see often working with American developers like EA. So that's kind of a surprise, But it's got a lot of things in common with Monster Hunter, but it also does a little bit of its own thing. To begin with,
Ooh, that game looks cool.
yeah, it's pretty good. To begin with, you're not starting in a village. You're just starting out in the wild. There is a story constantly going on as you are playing. They do have very much like Monster Hunter. You could forge armor from different monster parts and forge weapons from those as well. All different kinds of weapons you can try out, see what you like, see what works for you.
So
You do have ones you need to attack and finish for the story to go. But outside of that, it does several things differently. I'm sorry, Alex. What were you going to say?
So looking at the footage, is this post-apocalyptic?
No, it's similar to Monster Hunter, where it's like in a Japanese.
Okay, because like I saw what looked like I don't
eight-
know, busted old buildings or a
well,
busted
yeah,
train
it's
bridge or something.
like a village. It's an
so
area with these monsters called kimono who are not only rampaging, but they can kind of take over the environment with their powers.
Ah,
And you, as a hunter, are trying to hunt them down and finish them off. But there is some like little differences. For some reason, you could do a lot of constructions of these boxes and springs. I forget what they're called. They can aid you, like if the monster runs into them, it can damage them, or if you spring or jump off of one, you can do an aerial attack that'll do more damage. Also, what I really like is if you see the smaller, more harmless monsters around, you can sneak and hide in bushes, and if you don't want to attack them, you can actually pet them, which they'll like, and they'll leave more resources than if you try to just go out after them themselves. So there's like a little peaceful alternative for the small, harmless monsters,
so
which is I kind of dig.
if I understand the premise of this, and I listened to a long discussion about this over on Waypoint Radio. Broadly speaking, sort of what it differentiates itself from in Monster Hunter is, by and large, the premise. And the premise is effectively that rather than Monster Hunter, where you are a heavy air quotes researcher, which means kill all the things, this is more along the lines of, well, they are becoming you are trying to understand and strike the balance between the human landscape and the landscape of the kimono, who are sort of spirits who are effectively losing their own land and thus are intruding on human spaces.
Right. It's kind of like that. There's definitely some environmental messaging in it. Well, first when I saw trailers on that, I'm like, okay, this is stealing a lot from Monster Hunter, but now they've been playing it more. It does have its own unique style to it, which I appreciate. Like I say, the building and construction. You can camp anywhere. You can make your own forge if you need to. So, like, if you die too many times, you can make your own camp, so it's not too far off. Being able to pet the monsters is another thing, which like I said, I really enjoy. But also, it's just got a more straightforward narrative than Monster Hunter, where you're just going to villages and they tell you a little bit of what's going on. but you don't get a lot of dialogue for them. Here, you actually get talking dialogue. I'd recommend if you got Game Pass, at least try the 2 hour or so trial of it. And I'm already thinking of buying it. I'm enjoying it, and been enjoying it enough that I want to keep continuing on it. I guess if I might see if I can get a deal at GameStop or so. I have like a whole bunch of Switch games I'm not playing anymore, so I might try it with that.
I'm a little surprised this is an EA thing.
Yeah, I am really surprised that it's EA too, because the developer is Koei Tecmo. So why they're working with EA on this and not publishing it themselves, I'm a little surprised at.
Does Koei Tecmo have a good publishing arm in the US? I guess that's my question, because I know they do a lot of development, but
they do publish
maybe not
here, yeah.
They do publish some stuff, so I'm still a little surprised at that.
Might be a scope thing.
Anyway,
these instant structures kind of remind me of Fortnite.
What? Oh, the structure thing, yeah.
Yeah, where you just throw them down and they pop up.
They'll tell you to press the alt button, and suddenly, if you have enough timber, you'll suddenly create a massive wall that the monster will hit, and it'll do major damage to him.
Diggs, you are definitely going to need to hang up and come back again.
No, sorry, I was coughing a little bit.
No, you have just been cutting out.
Oh, I have? Okay, let me try. Just hold on, I'll be right back, like, real quick.
While you do that, I'm going to queue up another video.
Okay, I'm back. Is that any better?
Whatever. We'll deal with it.
Anyway, the other game, as some might know, I'm a big Godzilla fan. I got the nephews indoctrinated to Godzilla fandom now. They play with all my vinyl figures and have a blast. That's kind of has led to me becoming more of an Ultraman fan now that Shin Ultraman hit theaters in January. Best Buy had a sale on a lot of the Blu-ray box sets, so I ended up buying those and watching Ultraman through there. Also Ultraman Z on the official channel. So I've been kind of getting into that, and I was looking for an Ultraman game to play and see if there's any modern stuff, and I couldn't find anything on Xbox and PS4, but Switch recently got in Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, which is a kind of an Ultraman knockoff on the Monster Rancher series itself. Only this time you are raising and training Ultraman's kaiju enemies, basically, as like Pokemon, almost like giant, but they're still giant kaiju, and you have to train them on this one ranch, one at a time. And that's it's pretty good. It's starting to get to the point where I'm just doing this kind of the same things over and over. But yeah, you have your giant monsters. Each one's got different kinds of attacks and different kinds of personalities to them. Their stats can raise and lower depending on what you feed them. You're trying to get their weight down and their energy up, and they want them to be less afraid of you and more, comfortable around you. At the same time, you also having them fight in tournaments against other kaiju. There are very few, but occasional characters from the previous Monster Rancher series you can come in and fight. But like 90% of this is just crazy looking kaiju from the Ultraman series.
I was gonna say, like, one of the things that they really capture about it is these absolutely do look like 1960s, 1970s style rubber suit men.
Oh yeah, they're totally those. They've got enough nostalgia and fandom that I guess some of those character designs are still around, and they're just really wild. The one with the big lips, and this one guy who looks like a corn on the cob with a long neck. I think that's Red King. I am playing currently as Avenger, just in Ultraman colors. He's in Ultraman Z. He's just a robot it's a friendly robot that you help fight with. But anyway,
how do you feel about the actual combat system in it?
I was about to bring that up. It's just mostly menu based, depending on what distance you are from the other monster, and it's also very stat based. So if you have low on stats, you're going to get more damaged easily, or your attacks will be weaker.
Do you feel like
also,
do you feel like there's legitimate tactics to it, or do you think it's mostly
there's
just
definitely tactics. So it gives you a good reason that you need to raise and train this, because you're leveling up your characters for tournaments in E class, D class, C class, and above. But it's how you raise them and everything that's makes them more effective in tournaments. Right now, my monster is like C level, and I'm getting my butt kicked in C tournaments, or was doing okay in E and D tournaments. And so that means I need to raise them better. Sometimes you can loan them out to other trainers, and they'll increase their stats. You have to be careful of drilling them too much. They'll either get fatigued, or their anger level will rise, and they'll get so angry that they'll destroy a little either a mountain area or a little seaside village or something.
Have you actually
for that.
I'm sorry. Have you actually encountered Ultraman in it yet?
Yes, he's at the very beginning of the game, and because one of the kaiju goes on a rampage, and Ultraman stops him, flies away, and then the first time the monster you raise goes on a rampage, Ultraman Zero, who's one of the more modern Ultraman, comes and fights him and stops him pretty much instantly, and then flies off again. But outside of that, this is mainly a game starring Ultraman's kaiju monsters, but not that much Ultraman in it itself.
Gotcha.
Now, I have a question. What happens if you stick a CD in the game console?
Oh, okay, that's something that's important for me to bring up. They do not have CDs. It said it's the not NFC
NFT.
based. So
NFC. Sorry,
not NFT. No, NFC was. I was right the first time.
You were right. Sorry.
So if you're using a Pro controller, or you're using your an official Nintendo, controller that has a scan reader, you could take either for some reason it doesn't work on Amiibos, I hear, but you could take if your credit card has a tap thing on it, you could use that, and you could either drop a random monster or a random cookies that you can use to add extra traits to your monster.
I really need to get MP3s on the Switch and then use those.
Yeah, but you can also do keywords, or it'll just select a monster or a special cookie for you. No cookie monster, unfortunately. It does use that kind of stuff in the game as well. And you could also not breed the monsters, but fuse them together. So you'll get one monster, like Red King, the Kurt on the Cob looking guy, with alien Balton's colors to it, and it'll increase its stats and use attacks from that the other alien usually uses. We'll kind of combine them together, but mostly it's the same looking monster, but with the colors of something else. But I mean, it's pretty good. It's not. I got it on sale for $35. I think it normally goes for $50. I would wait to see if you like Monster Rancher. I think you might enjoy this one, but I'd wait for a sale on it. It's a pretty good game, but it's not and I've been playing it quite a bit, but it's not a great game. It's just one if you like stats, if you like ones where you're progressing, your character. But it's not as much about gameplay, then you'll enjoy it.
It seems like it's a lot of fan service more so than like we had an idea for a game with mechanics and
one of the red chairs is Canagon. I think his name's Canagon. It's the little coin bank monster. It eats coins and money to live.
You will be.
And that's your little assistant.
You will be unhappy to learn that I did a Google search for Ultraman Cookie Monster and received no satisfying results.
Aww. No. So Sesame Street and Ultraman haven't had a crossover yet?
No, there is
seen a Cookie Monster statue based on Shin Godzilla that I actually really enjoy. But yeah, that's about it for that. So I guess we should be going on to the news. And the first bit of news is something I was able to cover. which is this Sonic Prime toys have been shown recently. They are coming this summer. Courtesy of PMI. The merchandise is based, of course, on the popular Netflix series. So the exact. Let me get the exact announcement here.
You can hear Jason read the news as he is announcing this. It's like, what did I write? What did I write again? The wait is almost over for those looking for some Sonic Prime merch to go with their favorite new Sonic series, PMI, etc.
Anyway, the toys look cool.
Yeah, there's collectible figures, action figures, keychains, stampers, plushes. The ones they're showing look just like little miniature figurines, but apparently they are going to have full-sized action figures with articulation and such. We haven't really seen those, just the figurines.
Yeah,
I'm definitely interested in that, so we'll see how it goes. Does anyone have any opinions on that one?
They don't look as good as the stuff I've seen come out of Jakks Pacific. They seem okay. Like, even in some of the blurry images, I'm looking at these and thinking, like, oh, the paint's not great on these. The poses aren't fantastic. And yeah,
I'm a fan of them being poses. I don't want my action figures to just have poses. I'm not buying a statue. I'm buying things to play with. And I can't play with them if they're just stuck in a single pose. They need to be able to articulate or bend their
them together and go.
Yes. Anyway, it is kind of cool to me just seeing like these alternate versions of these characters getting toys. Like, it's weird. Like, we got Jungle Nuts there, and I forget what Amy's name is. Thorn.
Thorn. Yeah, Amy. You're right.
So like. It looks neat enough, but I suspect one thing I kind of thought when it became clear what kind of show this was that it does seem like it's built to be kind of toyetic, like all these different variations of the same 6 characters.
To an extent, I view that more along the lines of the same thing that tends to happen with every CG show, which is to say, it's expensive to make further characters because each one is his own separate model, and it's much more reasonably priced to take an existing model and make modifications to it. You kind of saw this with, even higher quality ones like Ninja Turtles still reuse the crap out of their existing assets.
Yeah, that too, but a very, very common toy company trick is to make loads of different variations of the same character. Back when they were making Gargoyles toys, they had all of these weird variations of Goliath and Lexington and Brooklyn. It's just they guess they gave. And same thing with Jurassic Park and stuff. They get battle damage. They have different armors, different weapons, different gimmicks.
But at the same time, the standard Sonic toy series goes through a lot of that. It's here's the line where they're dressed like the not actually Olympics, but Olympics. Here's the versions where it's they're clear colored with glitter inside.
Or have weird
pastel colored ones. Oh god, the pastel ones from last year. What the hell were they thinking with that one?
But the Sonic franchise has generally struggled to do those sorts of variants until Sonic Prime, presumably. I assume we'll be getting all the different kinds of Knuckles and Sonics and Tailses and stuff. But actually, I do see both Tailses right here. We see the primitive one that barks or whatever, and then we have 9.
It's fine. They're fine. They're not particularly noteworthy, but what is noteworthy?
Yes.
Getting to play Sonic Colors. Getting to play Sonic Colors Ultimate on Steam, which it is now available.
It finally got off of the Epic Store, and now it's available for your Steam Deck or for your PC if you don't really care for using Epic Store.
Have either of you got this?
No, I already own this game twice. I'm not gonna get a third time until it's cheap.
Yeah, I'm not gonna double or in this case triple, because I did get the Switch version that was the Japanese bonus one with the book and everything. I mainly got it for that.
I might have
maybe
three
next
copies.
Christmas when the next Ultimate Steam sale goes in November.
I might have 3 copies. I might own 3 copies of this game.
We will see how active the modding community is by Sonic Hacking Contest. That might be what gets me to get it.
Well, I will tell you, the day it came out, Hedgemod Manager did release an update to support it, so that part is at least good. I know some of the mods are already functional, including debug mode mod, which is one I've been using most.
Ooh.
Not perfect. It not perfect in the same way that the other versions are not perfect, in the same way that, like, it's not necessarily super fast loading that you might expect it to be. It might have a bit of hitching. I know I certainly had some hitching issues on the Steam Deck, and I don't love that, but it is something that I guess I'm willing to play on console. PC, unsurprisingly, looks way better than Switch. Like, it's... There are visual effects that I noticed on...
Saying.
Like, there's visual stuff missing in the Switch version that it's like, oh, that's there in the PC version. Okay. So this is a Switch issue.
Which they just, like, I don't know, done an emulation with Dolphin.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still
like...
like...
if you got a Dolphin and a legal copy of, Sonic Colors on your Wii, then maybe that'd be the way to go on a PC.
There is, but...
Technically, I've had that game on my Steam Deck for like a year. Well, no, not for a year. I'm thinking the GPD Win 3, but since I got my Steam Deck.
I'm still... Quite honestly, I'm still more likely to just play this PC version, if only because they did do an amount... Like, it's worth mentioning. Yes, it has technical issues, but also they have done work on it. Like, it's not...
Yeah, they did.
It has more geometry than the Wii version had.
Yeah, more polygons and all that.
Yeah.
But like ultimately, it's they still haven't fixed some of those weird graphical glitches, like the missing pipe graphics and the broken animation in Carnival Night Act 3. It's just, I don't know, like that the lack of polish for stuff like that is just kind of frustrating to see.
Oh, but sure,
regardless, like when I do go back to play it, it'll probably be on my Switch. So I don't know. We'll see.
I am happy. I am pleased. But I also probably have the most positive relationship with this game, so yeah.
Yeah, so we're mentioning, possible hacks in the future. Now, we do have a Sega fan game that was originally started as a wrong hack.
It's still a hack. It's just a completely original hack. Built in Sonic 3.
It's taken 5 years, and it's finally finished. It's called the Hellfire Saga. I don't know that much about this one. Alex, do you want to take over this one?
I know. So, like, Hellfire Saga, it's basically like this fan hack built in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where, like, they took all of these, like, visual and graphical elements from Gothic games like Castlevania and Ghosts and Goblins and stuff like that, and they basically, like, they made a Gothic Sonic game. Where I haven't had a chance to play beyond the Sonic Hacking Contest demo from last year, but like it from what I have played of it is quite fun.
It's well put together.
It has some interesting quirks to it, like instead of like losing rings, you have like 5 blood red rings that they're like health points for you. and so that does kind of so that is kind of a unique twist in terms of as far as Sonic games go. But it also kind of makes the game more difficult than I'm used to for Sonic.
It looks like including one of the bosses from Ghouls and Ghosts as well.
Oh, it swipes a lot of assets all over the place from plenty of different games, but it does find like different interesting ways to utilize them. I think one of the actual bosses is sort of an alternate take on Richter Belmont.
I know that there's a boss that's based off of the guy from Ghosts and Goblins, Arthur, but I haven't gotten to Richter Belmont yet. I've been meaning to play this hack for a while, but I've just been busy and distracted with other things.
You know who else has been busy and distracted? Ian Flynn.
Yes, he helped write a Sonic cookbook.
Sonic cookbook, that is an amazing thing. Yeah, I mean the cookbook thing is becoming popular now with themes. I mean, you can get cookbooks based on. I mean, so Sanji's got a cookbook out there. So got one for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge based on the food that's available in that park, and now we're getting Sonic the Hedgehog, cookbook. Of course, one of the first ones is chili dogs. You gotta have that.
We've got I believe vegan chili dogs or something. No, gluten free and dairy free chili dogs.
It's a novelty. We've
got evil cookies and blue tea from Amy.
I hope we have evil ham.
I mean, apparently it's like supposedly based around the characters in world of Sonic, whatever that is. But I don't know, since Ian Flynn is involved, I'm sure it's at least going to be a fun read. In addition to him, another fairly notable person, Pixelated Vika, is also working on it.
But ultimately, we're not talking about something that's going to be as detailed or significant as like an American's Test Kitchen book. Like this is
obviously not.
This is a straight up novelty.
It's been researched and nothing as detailed as even the Sonic. It's like the Speedpedia that came out.
The main premise of this is things that you can make within 30 minutes. You're not going to get like these complex and interesting recipes from that.
Well, I mean, chili dogs are great, but you know what? I know how to make a chili dog. I've made a chili dog before.
Yeah, you make a hot dog,
and you have chili,
and then you make the chili.
Now, if they want
it all in a bun.
If they want to give me a chili recipe, I'm open to chili recipes.
Well, I mean, hopefully they'll have a chili recipe.
So yeah, it's available for pre-order right now, and it is currently set to release on October 17th.
So, the next piece of news is some very big news for hardcore Dreamcast fans and GX alike. New Samba de Amigo.
This was my favorite thing out of the Nintendo Direct. When I saw that, I just kind of freaked, because this is Samba de Amigo Party Central, which means this is the first Samba de Amigo game since the Dreamcast that is not just an update or a remaster or whatever. This is a genuine kind of sequel,
Yeah, I guess the Wii version was more of a port, huh?
Yeah, it was a port. Everything else was a port of the original Samba de Amigo. This is the first one.
Well, hold on.
Kind of a sequel.
Hold on. Let's not straight up call that.
You don't have to say that. Don't have to say sequel. You could say a spin-off. It's the first Samba de Amigo game that's not
based. That's not based on the original game.
Yeah, exactly. It's one that's not directly based on the original.
Because it's hard for me to look at what the studio what did that game did and call it, oh yeah, it's a port. No, it's friggin' not a port. They made the Wii remotes work on it, and not very well either.
It is kind of wild to me that we went through a whole era of video game rhythm games where there was a huge focus on peripherals, and Samba de Amigo just did not come up once.
Well, what was Sega gonna do was Sega going to make a peripheral-based rhythm game? At most, they'll make your home version of the Hatsune Miku arcade board, but that's just like 4 buttons.
There was a time when they would make be able to make stuff like that. It's not that wouldn't have been that weird for them.
Yeah, but how long ago? That was during the Dreamcast, is what you're describing.
No, what I'm describing is like during like the Wii era.
Did Sega do anything like that during the Wii era?
How well the Joy-Cons will play. How does this one for
Sega generally invests more into their games in that era. Not necessarily. I don't know about peripherals though, but regardless,
I am not
Dreamcast era. If you do not have the official Sega Samba de Amigo maracas, everything else was crap. I tried with third-party ones before, and those were always awful.
Wait,
so I'm hoping
for Wii or for Dreamcast?
For Dreamcast, back in the day of the Sega Dreamcast, if it wasn't the official one.
Wait. Okay, I need you to back up. There were third-party maracas for Samba de Amigo?
On the Dreamcast, yeah, there were.
Yeah, I believe so. Like
they had the ones that were like half the price, but even with the sensor at the bottom that you had to place and everything,
who would make that? Why would you make that as a third party?
I don't know, but they did.
What?
Yeah, and if it wasn't the official one, it was the third-party ones just did not work good at all. I mean, even with the when the Wii version came out and you were using your Wiimote and nunchuck, even that had just wasn't very accurate compared to.
Let's talk about the actual game.
So, oh my God, there are 4. There are 4 different third-party maracas controllers. I am incensed about this.
Anyway, Samba de Amigo Party Central coming out on June 30th for $40.
It looks rad.
It's going to have an 8-player multiplayer segment, and it's going to have music from a variety of genres, including pop, apparently. Although I'm not really sure what they necessarily mean by that.
Look, as long as it has Samba de Verano, like I will be satisfied.
They've got to have Samba de Janeiro.
Janeiro, I'm sorry. What did I say? Verano. I don't know why.
Yeah, like they've got to. That is too iconic to leave out. Too iconic to the series to leave out. But they've got Latin, EDM, and other genres. But the visuals in this are very interesting to me. Like, very colorful. Definitely feels like it's taking after the old game. Like, they've redesigned the characters, but they still look recognizable. Like, you know, Samba's still got that whole boxy look to him.
You can make your own. You can make your own Amigo.
Yeah, like you can customize their outfits and everything.
And I think they said what, about 50 songs, or was it 40 songs?
40 songs.
40 songs, plus they are promising DLC.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there was future DLC down the line for that.
This feels so overdue. And I am so happy that it's finally happening. And it's happening for the Switch, which, you know, at this point is the only console that just comes with motion controls. So that makes sense. And the Joy-Cons, we complained about their mediocre pointer functionality, but in terms of motion, the motion is way superior to what the Wii could do. So I'm looking forward to it.
I wouldn't be surprised if some third party didn't come up with little maracas you have to shove the Joy-Cons into and
have
a little shake thing.
Stuff like that. Like it seems
occasionally, like they did a wheel for the Mario Kart.
Look, man, if you go on AliExpress, you can find anything. But yeah, like I think my biggest concern is not like the song list or anything. It's just I do worry. I do have a lot of anxiety about the controls. And the biggest issue that I do see in it that I kind of had with the Wii version, obviously the Wii version did not have Wii Motion Plus, but we are still dealing with a situation where it doesn't literally detect your height. Like there's not a good way for the Switch remote the Switch Joy-Cons to actually do height detection. So it is going to be reliant on angling.
And I imagine what they'll probably do is, like, before a song they'll just have you what's the word, configure things where, like, they'll have you do up, sideways, down. Like, there are ways to configure the motion controls where I think they should be able to sense where they are. But in addition to that, like, I'm sure that the button controls will work just as well as they always have. Like, the Dreamcast version did have button controls, and I assume this one will as well.
Oh, I was not aware of that. I know the Wii I've only ever played the Wii version, so the Wii version, to my knowledge, does not have button controls.
Well, the Dreamcast version does. I think it uses the face buttons and the D-pad. So I would imagine on the Switch it would use the face buttons.
Yeah, and it had to, because the game came by itself, and you bought the maracas separately if you wanted to. So otherwise, it was just a rhythm game.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Can I use the Taiko no Tatsujin drum set with this? What do you think?
You can try. Like, it depends on whether or not on how, like, the inputs of the drum set line up with the inputs of a Switch controller. Like, can you
probably not, because there's pausing. I mean, there's posing you have to do as well.
I think the thing that surprises me most is that if it does have button controls, that it is just coming to Switch right now. That seems odd to me.
I would imagine that they are probably marketing the motion controls here. So,
yeah. But that game, Sega should look into putting into, like, VR and stuff. I think that would work well in VR.
Oh yeah, this makes way more sense in VR than Space Channel 5 did.
Hey, Space Channel 5 makes perfect sense in VR.
Not as much sense as this does, and I'm not even talking about the VR aspect of it. I'm purely talking about the controller aspect of it.
I actually bought that. I have yet to play it because I have not had the time.
In other Sega game news, Sonic Frontiers ends the year at 2.9 million units, with 6.7 million units for Sonic series as a whole. That year, I guess that includes Origins and the other games. The future Sonic games are going to feature higher budgets, and apparently they're doing so well, the employees are getting raises this as well.
Well, no. Common misconception on raises. Like, the Japanese government is encouraging all companies to give their employees raises, and so that's why you're hearing about Sega and Nintendo doing it.
Yeah. This is coming from on high. My broad understanding is that they have sort of, we'll say, Japanese companies have sort of lagged behind keeping up with inflation, as it were, and this is an encouragement to say, hey, inflation's a real thing. I'm guessing it's more along the lines of, like, hey, if you want to do this and not piss off your investors, the Japanese government is saying, yeah, do this for the sake of the country.
But regardless, like, Sonic Frontiers, like, we've talked about the sales of this game before. It is just doing very well, like 2.9 million units. In terms of Sonic's 3D games, that is just up there now.
Oh yeah.
No, like, his games in general, like, very few games have in the franchise have surpassed 3 million units.
Yeah, this is apparently the best selling 3D Sonic game since Sonic Heroes, and that was the first multi-platform 3D Sonic game.
I have heard that maybe Unleashed did 5 million, like, after a few years, but I can't find that anywhere. But it is certainly the fastest.
In a few months is what this one.
Yeah. Frontiers is certainly the fastest selling 3D Sonic game. I think it's selling faster than Heroes. Like, Heroes sold 3 million units over the course of, like, I think 6 months or something. So, like,
I'm wondering if it has anything to do with reviews, word of mouth, on the game, if it's the quality of the game, or if it's the popularity of Sonic in 2022 after,
I would say,
2 movies and
I think it's
all of the above. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sonic Frontiers wouldn't do this well if it was like Shadow the Hedgehog, but at the same time, Sonic is really big now.
Well, it's not only that. You figure there hasn't been one. There hasn't been like a Sonic game since Team Sonic Racing. And, well, I guess you could... there hasn't been a new one. You could, I guess, consider Sonic Origins to be the prior Sonic game. But beyond that, like, this is Sonic coming back. It's them taking a big swing. It's them putting a huge marketing budget. It's the game that follows after the movie. It's honestly, like, it's the most interested that I've heard the non-Sonic press that I follow actually pay attention to in a way. Like, a lot of the sentiment has been, I don't necessarily think this game is good, but it sure is interesting. Like, that's a sentiment I've heard from at least 4 different outlets that I follow. And that's more than I could say about anything from, like, 2017 prior.
I do think it is probably notable that, like, this is the first time that, like, the market has been oriented the way it has been. Like the Nintendo Switch is huge. The PS4 also has a huge fan base. The Xbox One and Series X have a decently sized fan base.
This was on it was on freaking everything.
Yeah, like, and that has not happened like this very often since Heroes. Like, it happened, like, Unleashed, technically 2 different games. But, like, it's really only happened to Forces, and that's kind of been it. The other ones have been, like, platform exclusive or like HD exclusive or something like that. And so, like, you know, this game does have a lot of things going for it. I guess in terms of the sheer market share they can sell to now.
The best way I could say is, for as many issues as I have with that game and its design choices, I can't argue that they made a lot of correct choices with it, and that...
Yeah, it's not the best 3D Sonic game, but the way they have the control scheme out now, we have a lot more hope for the future of 3D Sonic in the next ones. It's kind of like Unleashed, where, you know, the boost controls in 3D were spectacular, where a Werehog wasn't that good. If they had fixed that,
we bring up Unleashed a lot because it's kind of a similar circumstance where that laid the foundation for better games in the future.
Yeah, laid the fair foundation for generations, and I think this game lays down the foundation for future, probably even more well-constructed Sonic games.
I mean, that's what Kishimoto is sort of pitching this as, is like, oh, this is the generational change for Sonic, that before it was, we were in the 2nd generation, which I don't agree with that, but sure. And now we're in the new one, the 3rd one, or whatever.
But regardless, but like, also, like, this like, apparently Sonic games are getting bigger budgets in the future. And I think with Sega's free DLC strategy, that does point towards them being satisfied with how well the game is sold.
Well,
the DLC is probably meant to, like, keep the game going.
Caveat. Okay, hold on. It's not that they are specifically giving Sonic a bigger budget. Like, I don't want us to misinterpret what was said in the investor briefing.
Okay.
I believe they are basically planning and approving for higher budgets across the board, with the expectation that development on the whole will get more expensive.
Well, regardless, like, I would be shocked if Sonic Frontier's successor is not given just more to play with in general versus the first one. Like,
oh yeah, it kind of has to.
Like, just going by, I guess, how successful it has been. Like, Sega has no reason to hold back on the next one.
Well, Sega does have a reason.
The problem, expect to play $70 for your next Sonic game out of there.
The reason for Sega to hold back on it is the reason that they've always held back on it, and it's out of pure, well, we think we can. And I'm saying this with an understanding, like, hey, I'm pretty cynical about Sega as a business.
Like what you were saying about Metroid Prime earlier versus Zelda, it's what they think it'll sell well. The price point they think it'll sell well at is what they want to.
No, but I'm even talking about budgets. Is what I'm talking about. It's like Sega has to build up a greater trust in this, because even now, as much as Sonic Frontiers is doing as well as it is, let's be real here, it's clearly not the complete vision of this. And at some point they decided, well, we're going to release what we've got. Now this was successful, but
the final island definitely had cut corners cut.
Everything has cut corners cut in that. The tasks that the game asks you to do has cut corners. If you want to talk about my complaints about this game, we don't have enough time in this podcast.
We did a whole podcast on that, didn't we?
Yeah, I was going to say, as much as they delayed it a year, there are parts where it felt like they had to just cut it to get it out on time.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah.
Speaking of Sonic games that released in 2022, it appears there'll be there may be a Sonic Origins Plus, as it was rated in South Korea.
I knew that they were at least going to do a Sonic Origins physical edition, because Sega just loves releasing those those physical game compilations for Switch. So, why wouldn't they just make Origins a part of that? But Origins Plus, ooh.
So okay. Let's, before we go nuts, because I know there's been a lot of people going nuts over, they might have this, they might have them, and okay. Obviously,
I'm going to say there will be nothing that isn't 2D in this collection. Some people are saying Sonic the Fighters, and I'm saying no, nothing like that.
Well, okay. No, let's actually think about that for a sec, because they do have a working HD port of Sonic the Fighters. So yeah, there's a couple directions that they could go with this. First direction is they can add more games. Now, I personally don't believe that they're going to add any games that are going to be built off the Retro engine. I would be shocked. If they did.
There's only one game they can do that for. Knuckles Chaotix, and that's what I want to see. That is my wish list.
Yeah, but it's not including the 3D stages in that game.
There's no reason why they couldn't include the 3D stages.
I went back to Knuckles.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it. Sonic Mania, they could probably, if Sonic Mania they did like that, they could probably do that.
The Retro engine is not necessarily something that can only do 2D assets. I'm sure that they could work the Knuckles Chaotix special stages in there, either through Retro Engine or maybe through some other technology. I don't know. But regardless,
Alex, just to get my dig in, because I feel like I have to. I recently went back to Knuckles Chaotix just to test out my system on stuff, and that the level design in that game is still trash. It's still awful. It's still absolutely miserable. It's terrible level design. I
really enjoy about three of the levels.
Oh, good! I really enjoy 3 of the levels.
3 out of 5, not 3 out of the 25 acts.
I cannot say that I agree. I found
I guess I do enjoy the vertical the vertical platforming in that game. I don't know. Last time I played it, I was enjoying it more than Sonic CD. So,
Sonic CD.
Maybe I'm just weird.
Sonic CD freaking leads you to a destination. So Knuckles Chaotix is just here's a big map. It has a bunch of crap in it, and you like platformers, or you like platforms? You want to do this S swirl a whole bunch of times?
Regardless. What I want is Knuckles Chaotix on the Retro engine. I want Espio and Vector made playable across the rest of the games, alongside Mighty and Ray from Sonic Mania, and maybe Amy Rose.
Music in there. I mean, some bad game design can be forgiven with.
I will pay Sega $20 for this DLC. That is my offer, Sega. I'm kidding. But anyway, aside from that,
if I was to predict what games might be included in the Plus, The only thing I could think of is Spinball, 3D Blast, and then Knuckles Chaotix, and that's about all left. I mean, I doubt they'd do Mean Bean Machine because if they had a Japanese release, they'd be like, "What is this?"
If they're willing to do emulation, then technically
they could
just do all of the Genesis.
Yeah, sure. There's nothing stopping them.
Master System games, but in terms of retro engine stuff, really the only one they could really do is Knuckles Chaotix, because the other games just play too differently.
But
from the classics.
So I'm going to take a step back because number one, we don't know anything about what it's actually going to have. I personally think that, it's on the mid-ambitious side of, toss in another character.
It could certainly just be $5 DLC that, just adds some missions and a character or something, and I'd be satisfied. It's not what I want to be, but,
That's kind of it. Let's at least expect that, at the very least, the type of things that would be probably fairly easy for them to implement for something like this is, it's a mission pack, and maybe they implement, or at least build in some of the things, they surface some of the options that were otherwise hidden in the game, such as, the elemental shields in Sonic 1 or 2, the 7th Emerald, things that you would normally have to go into the level select to really access. So,
yeah.
I'm just saying, it's real easy to get pie in the sky with this, but let's be realistic about what they might actually do. I'm also going to add that we can probably expect to see this sometime around the summer. All of their 16-bit styled retro games have been around the summer.
What I would be completely content with is a new character, preferably either Amy Rose or Mighty and Ray, and some additional content like a mission mode or some other kind of mode, and a patch. This game needs a patch that irons out all of the issues that remain across the various versions.
I would be the bare minimum that would make me satisfied is, hey, we put Knuckles in Sonic CD. I would like the complete quadrilogy of that and just be able to have all of them. And then, I don't know, maybe just make it so that you do the same thing you did with story mode and give you options to be any of the characters, whether or not they have cutscenes or not.
Alternatively, $20 DLC that contains all the stuff I mentioned, plus the cut music from Sonic 3, so that people stop complaining.
Oh, God, I am so sick of hearing people complain about the stupid music. The music that they have is fine. It doesn't ruin the game. I'm sick of hearing about people complain about the music because that's the only thing that people seem to complain about, except for some of the bugs. Ugh.
Anyway, so we're going on. We do now have a Amy's Tarot card deck coming in for sale in October. It's got a 125-page booklet I guess to teach you how to do a fortune teller reading, and
another Ian Flynn project, by the way.
Yeah, this is really, I'm really excited for this. I think this is a credible little piece because this is what do you call that? Like a cosplay item coming to life, or a role play item. So
I'm in it for the original art. I like the art that's on it.
I mean, I'm all for this.
I probably will not wind up getting the cookbook because, like I said, it's a novelty cookbook. Who needs a novelty cookbook? But no, this one, this is the type of thing.
Cards.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say this is technically a novelty as well. I mean, it's coming out on October 10th for $24.99.
Hey, a week before the cookbook.
Yeah, 78 cards. That's a good sized deck, I guess.
Yeah,
so GX, are you going to do tarot card readings on stream or something?
I don't know. I'll figure something out. Maybe video review or something like that. It's
every Sonic with the tarot cards.
Yeah, it just ultimately comes down to, like, I'm a sucker for original art products like this, that cosplay or not, it's just knowing that these aren't going to be, oh, well, we put a bunch of stock art on playing cards or something like that, that each one of these is actually designed. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I was expecting of Sonic merchandise was Amy's tarot cards.
One way you can tell that Sonic is getting more popular is that we're getting stuff like this, and it's not just stock art.
Oh yeah,
like they actually invested money into this.
They paid an artist.
It's going to sell.
Well, I'm wondering. Okay, so what I'm actually wondering is, did they previously design these for the sake of having a consistent style going forward? Because, like, this isn't just the cards from the comics. This is also the cards from the cutscenes in Sonic Origins. You can make the comparison, and
I was
going to
say, they look very familiar to the cutscenes in Sonic Origins.
So it wouldn't surprise me.
I think they might have been planning ahead for this. It's possible.
Or they might have just, like, had, okay, in our art asset library, we have decided, okay, these are going to be what all the cards are, either over an IDW or in some other format, just, figuring out, like, it's possible these already exist and they decided, well, what if we monetize it?
Or maybe Ian Flynn, just like, he's involved, and he just said, no, like, how about we, like, make all the designs consistent across everything? And then so we're like, you madman!
Yeah, that's something that he would definitely do. Yeah, it's cool.
Right, so if that kind of fan service out of the way, we got more information with Mario. I hope I'm saying this wrong.
Mario Kishimoto.
Kishimoto. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. I am...
Just
my
roll
apologies.
with it.
I am passing up.
Roll with it, Jason.
Okay, let's
roll
go
with
ahead.
it.
Mario Kishimoto is offering confirmed Sonic Frontiers Wave 1 DLC is in its final stages. It'll be coming out soon, and they say there might be more 2D Sonic games coming in the future.
Looking forward to both of these things. Yes. I have been wanting a new 2D Sonic game since Mania came out. I cannot believe they haven't done that yet. And I'm just ready for whatever they're gonna make.
Yeah, because Mania was huge. I mean, it did incredible sales.
Like, so
there was haven't gotten anything since then is a shock.
There have been rumors of a new 2D Sonic game coming for a while. Like, some of these from legitimately good sources.
Whoa. Slow down a sec. I need us to stop, because let us remember, they did make a new Sonic game in that time. They went over to Headcanon and say, hey, remake the entirety of Sonic 3 and Knuckles for us so that we can put it in this collection. So let's not pretend that they haven't done something.
I was about to say Sonic Origins in itself is kind of a successor from Sonic Mania. That it's
I guess that's more like along the lines of a port with a remaster.
No, it's not a you cannot call that a port.
There's a lot of work that's still
put like Sonic CD, Sonic 1.
Those are ports, yes.
Those are all ports of the mobile games.
But there was not an existing version of that game on that engine until Headcanon made it.
You mean for Sonic 3 and Knuckles?
For Sonic 3 and Knuckles, yeah.
Yeah, that's the remaster.
Yeah. Sure, but what I'm saying is, they still had to ask them to do that, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles is a game that is basically level-wise nearly as big as Sonic Mania.
Basically, I'm just really looking forward to getting something original in the 2D space again, and I'm hoping that the rumors that this is going to be a 2D Sonic game starring modern versions of the characters is true, because that just seems cool to me. It'd be cool seeing them in 2D, seeing them in 2D again. It hasn't happened since Sonic Rush.
I would like to. I guess my questions are like, who's making it? What is the style of gameplay? The problem is we do live in a world with Sonic 4. We can't ignore that fact, and
I thought that none of us hated Sonic 4.
I don't hate Sonic 4. I don't want another Sonic 4. Like,
yeah, I don't want another Sonic 4 either, but
yeah,
like
me hating Sonic 4
2 was fine. But yeah, I did not want another, especially episode 1. I do not want another one of those.
Like either literally or in spirit. Like it's just I don't want a 2D Sonic game after Mania to feel like it's significantly regressive. Like,
well, I would hope that a 2D Sonic game would at least have the classic physics. Like, I would be really
that would
shocked
be nice
if they didn't do that.
But keep in mind, they struggled putting in the classic physics in 2 Sonic team developed sort of cross-generational Sonic games. Like, Sonic Generations is pretty fun. Sonic Generations does not have authentic 2D Sonic physics. It really does not. Nor does Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces gets it even worse.
Generations needed the authentic physics, if I'm being honest.
Oh, it didn't need it, but like there were times whenever you would expect Sonic to behave in a certain way, especially if you were rolling, and it just would not.
But regardless, like, okay, I lied before. I would also be very satisfied with a Sonic Rush style 2D Sonic game.
That's more along the lines of what I might expect.
Mania or Rush. Either Mania or Rush. Pick one, Sega.
I am more inclined to believe a Sonic Mania or a Sonic Rush style of game. It seems like something that
I would be more than okay with that.
But also, again, I guess it just kind of depends on who's doing it. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to.
At the same time, the classic physics is a case of it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, because Sonic Mania, I'd still pick over Sonic Rush or some of the other ones as far as 2D Sonic goes.
So what I'm trying to roll over in my head is, and maybe you guys have some thoughts on this. Okay, let's purely as a hypothetical, let's assume that this whole modern version of 2D Sonic rumor has some accuracy to it. Obviously, we don't know, but for the sake of conversation, who makes this game?
And that is the $1 million question. Like,
is it Sonic Team?
I don't know.
They're going to be busy working on the next big major 3D Sonic game. Do they make something as a stopgap between that to just sort of like, a palate cleanser? Do they farm it out?
I would think that they probably farmed it out because there are plenty of competent developers of 2D games out there that they could bring on for something like this. Like, I mean, obviously, like, my ideal pick for a Sonic Mania type game would be Headcanon. But like, there are other developers out there who could handle stuff like this. But
how about hear me out on this. Hear me out. What about Inti Creates?
Yeah, like they're the guys who did the those not Mega Man games that weren't Mighty Number 9, right? I forget what they're
not only did they make the not Mega Man games, they also did make Mega Man games. They made the Zero series on GBA, the ones that are bastards.
Oh. I completely forgot about that. Huh. Yeah, like they would work.
I'm just trying to think, like, Dimps, I don't know if they would work with Dimps again. That's the interesting question. Dimps is out doing other stuff.
Dimps hasn't made a game remotely like a 2D Sonic game in years.
Yeah, the last game that they've made was Dragon Ball The Breakers, the weird sort of Death by Daylight style Dragon Ball game that's not very good, apparently.
And also, it's been like more than a decade since those games. Like, let's remember, like, the last few Sonic games that they made were the Generations port were the Generations and Lost World ports for 3DS.
Do you think there's a team in Sega that could do something like this?
I mean, like, it's hard to tell for me because, like, Sega doesn't really have have like their traditional teams anymore. Like they're hiring a bunch of new people. There's no reason why. So I don't see why they wouldn't necessarily have hired people who could handle a game like this at some point in the last few years. But like at the moment, we just don't know.
Yeah, I agree with GX. I think the most likely thing is them licensing it out to a third party to develop.
That's what I agree with as well.
So I just checked for the sake of, covering my bases, and I think Oculus owns Sanzaru now?
Yeah, it sounds right. Oh, right, they're the guys who did the Boom game.
They did Sonic. Yeah, they did Sonic Boom, but they also had done the
Iron Ice was really good. I'll keep saying that.
It's good. But I was also gonna say, like, they can scale because they did the Sly Cooper remakes and new game as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they are owned by Oculus now.
That kind of sucks.
Asgard's Wrath.
Okay. Well, I wish them the best in their new terrible corporate overlords.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can find the metaverse's legs, because Facebook sure can't.
Yeah, and there's no segue for this, so basically the Sonic X has been the Japanese subtitled Blu-ray release has been stated for April 25th, and it's been mentioned by both Amazon and Right Stuff.
Hey, you know how people say, well, the Japanese version of Sonic X, that's the version you want. Well, guess what? Now you can actually make the side-by-side comparison and realize that they're both subpar.
All I know is that the Japanese version of season 3 has some dark moments that 4Kids did not air.
Oh, now okay. Now I am slightly interested. Now you've caught my attention.
You can hear Sonic's drop the S-bomb in the second episode.
Like there is apparently a moment in this show that directly references Metal Sonic's death in the from the OVA, and like I saw the clip on Twitter, and is definitely a reference.
Okay, you're selling me on this.
There's some definite differences. Like a lot of the humor in the Japanese dubs are fourth wall breaking. Like they mentioned, well, we got to go easy because these kids, the kids just came back from the from the summer vacation and stuff like that.
They had that same humor in the English version.
Some of it,
yeah.
But, what was the other thing?
Well, there is one thing
that translate better, like shadow hunting after Cosmo. He was originally saying in the English dub, he's saying, "Well, I'm not going to tell you why I'm going after you. I'm not going to say anything."
I know that Sonic
the original one, he's like, "Well, it's best you don't know. I really shouldn't say," or something like that. It made more sense on why he didn't reveal that she was Meta X herself.
Sonic X has like some legit jokes that like are genuinely funny in the Japanese version and just don't exist in the 4Kids version. Like there's this whole like fourth wall breaking thing that occurs during it's mildly funny, but still better than what 4Kids occurs during the.
Let me be clear here. Sonic X is still a Monster of the Week show where Sonic and his very limited set of friends hang out with the child that nobody cares about, and just goes through weird day-to-day adventures, and then eventually retells several video games in a manner that is worse than the original version.
But then we have season 3, which is a space opera with a body count. So
it's very weird.
It's the Star Trek knockoff that Ken Pender's always wanted.
but, and I want to be clear about this, Discotech does very good work. If this is something that interests you, like, you couldn't ask for a better steward for this type of thing. They are taking the current Hulu subtitles and actually cleaning them up, because apparently the Hulu subtitles are full of, like, spelling mistakes and mistranslations, and they don't cover things like written text on the screen. So there's going to be a lot of cleanup work. They are making
does that mean like any Japanese signage or something will be translated or no?
Exactly, yes. It's going to be the most uncut that they can allow. Apparently, there will be microcuts based on stuff like flashing lights that they can't show for safety reasons.
Right.
But otherwise, it's going to be the complete series, SD video, 5.1 audio, and special features and stuff. So
we'll say this: on the whole, I don't really feel inclined to buy like Sonic X on physical media until someone does something crazy like completely redubs it from the ground up.
Oh, that will never happen.
But I know, so I'm probably never going to buy it. But like, I do want to do a Sonic X podcast at some point in the nearest future, and so I don't know. That given that this apparently has some subtle improvements, maybe I'll check this out.
Personally, if you do want this kind of thing, I do recommend purchasing physical media because streaming is very fickle. It changes constantly, and with streaming, you don't really get to own your media that you want to keep.
Well, Sonic X. There's going to be somewhere. I don't need to own it.
But this is the starting price is $59.99. That's pretty pricey even for.
Oh, okay. I'm not buying episodes.
This. Yeah, I mean, Right Stuff right now at I believe 47 or 42.
Let's just keep moving. Let's just keep moving because this isn't important. The price is going to change. It's currently $42 if you want to pre-order.
Okay.
So
the Right Stuff.
I mean, you're getting 78 episodes. I don't think $70 is a bad ask for that, especially with all the work that they do.
For me, I just have access to it on Hulu, so I kind of feel like I'm good.
But I will be getting this, but
yeah, did you mention that the Hulu one is not like you said accurate? It does have some spelling errors and some slight translation mistakes, but. Overall, it's still pretty good. Okay, our final bit of news is that there is an unreleased English version of Sega's Sonic Cosmo Fighter arcade machine that's been leaked online. I have not seen this myself.
Maybe this is the Sonic Origins Plus DLC.
Let's first off, let's make sure we're clear about this. It's not that there has been a version that has been leaked online. It's that the ROM for this game has finally been dumped.
Isn't that basically what he said? I guess leaked isn't the right term.
Yes, leaked is not the right term. This game came out in like 1993 or something.
But the English version was never released.
But
it was only ever released in Japan.
But the English version has voice acting.
Ooh.
And it has it has the craziest voice. So I'm gonna play this, but I'm going to show the tweet to at least give credit. But I don't know, you guys can't hear it, but the people watching really need to hear this because it's astounding.
I'm gonna look this up. Sega Sonic.
I am currently playing Sonic's audio. This is Sonic saying this. This is his voice.
Try again and show your courage. You've done great. You did it. Fantastic. You're really a hero. Well, we'll see you again.
I did not know that this was
Sonic Cosmo Fighter.
I love this. I love that voice for him. It's so nonsense.
Whoops.
Oh man. When I finally get my my soundboard together, there's some of that stuff that's gonna make it in. Oh man.
No, I hate that Apple has removed the headphone jack from their iPad Pros.
At any rate, you won't really be able to play this in English yet because the ROMs aren't going to be compatible with the current version of MAME. It's certainly possible that at some point MAME might be able to get this operating. I think that they...
Sonic's voice is so deep now.
Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it? It's so freaking weird.
Really, after playing Sonic Frontiers and everybody's voices suddenly deepened.
Space Commander.
But yeah, you figure May might at some point decide to support it. We don't know. I don't know yet if MAME actively supports. You know what? I could actually look that up. Why don't I look up if MAME currently supports the current Sonic Cosmo?
I feel like they should at least support the Japanese version, because X-Men are done for a while.
Possibly, but I mean, there's like MAME doesn't even support Naomi games very well yet. But I don't know. I tried to play Sonic. What was it? Sonic Popcorn Shop, Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop, and it plays, and then it gives an error because it's not. It realizes, oh, I'm not a popcorn machine. Something's terribly wrong here. Go get Saf to fix whatever this is.
Well, I don't think this is running on Naomi. Like, Naomi is a...
No, it's not. It's not running on Naomi, but I'm just making a point.
No.
Okay.
MAME isn't 100% comprehensive at this point.
Well, even Sega Sonic Arcade isn't perfect on there, but you need a trackball for that game.
Right. Right.
Well, that's disappointing.
Oh, I need to go get a trackball.
One of the Sonic Origins Plus games, Sega Sonic Arcade, or you can imagine them doing Sega Cosmo Fighter.
They'll get us all to buy the physical edition because it's going to come with a trackball.
Yeah, there you go.
I probably would. I'm just that broken. Okay, cool.
Well.
So hey, heads up. For those of you who are inclined to, play arcade games, in a way that is not necessarily on an arcade, you might be able to do that with Sega Sonic Cosmo Fighter International version. I won't say more than that.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that.
I might have the capacity to play this. But yeah, I think it's real cool. I think I would love to see an English version of this hit the ability to emulate, and I'd love to be able to play that on a stream, because it seems like it'd be fun.
For almost every Sonic.
Yeah, might be fun. Might be a fun game.
I think that's going to do it for us. I want to thank GX and Alex for being on the show this month. Is there anything you guys want to promote?
Nope, not for me.
Hey, I've started a new video series, which I did not do this week because, it's news podcast week. But check us out over on YouTube. We have a new series up called Hedgelines, which is a brief weekly news roundup. And, hey, if you want to catch a week's worth of Sonic news in, 5 minutes, that's what that is. I hear people like it.
3 minutes.
Whatever. And I am still working to get streaming schedules up and running again. It's still a lot of stuff in progress that I'm still trying to, get together, but keep an eye out, and I will let you guys know as soon as we have our standardized streaming shows again.
I guess I might as well say I am working on something for the for the YouTube Shorts format for Sonic Stadium, but I was supposed to continue work on it last week, but then I didn't, and so hopefully this week we'll have something out on the YouTube channel that's less than a minute.
And I will say one more, I guess if it's kind of a tease in a way. I'm hoping to get some more people on to Sonic Stadium streams, and I've been a little inconsistent on that. I have someone who I know is looking for a project that I would like to bring them in on if I'm able, and we are in very early talks with that, but there might be some additional voices coming to Sonic Stadium Twitch at some point.
Awesome.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next month.
Hey, peace all.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
You